What if a single book could completely change how you see yourself, your life, and the world around you? These three books did that for me, and let me tell you about them. If you're short on time or feeling bored, just skip ahead to this minute and catch this part. Trust me, it's worth it. Book 1. A Little History of the World by Ernest Gombrich. If you think history is boring, this book will change your mind forever. It's not a dry textbook filled with dates and facts you'll forget tomorrow. It's like sitting down with someone wise and warm who takes you by the hand and says, "Let me tell you the story of us, all of us." Ernest Gombrich is an Australian born art historian and he wrote this book in 1935. I first came across this book at a time when I felt completely disconnected from everything around me, and I was lost in my own little bubble, thinking my problems were the center of the universe. And then I started reading. Ernest Gombrich has this way of weaving the entire history of humanity into a story so beautifully simple that it almost feels magical. Suddenly, I wasn't just reading about wars and kings. I was seeing patterns, understanding the way our world become what it is today. And here's the thing, it made me feel small, not in a bad way, but in a freeing way. My problems, my worries, they weren't insignificant, but they were a tiny thread in this enormous tapestry of human existence. It reminded me that I'm part of something so much bigger. One line that stayed with me was about the Renaissance. Gombrich wrote about how people back then rediscovered the beauty of being human. And it made me think, when was the last time I stopped to discover that beauty in myself? This book gave me perspective, and honestly, I think everyone could use a little more of that. Book 2, The Story of Philosophy by Brian Magee. Philosophy, just hearing the word used to intimidate people. You might picture dusty old libraries and people arguing about things you didn't understand. But when you found Brian Magee, everything gonna change. This book doesn't try to overwhelm you with jargon or theories that feel impossible to grasp. It's like a conversation, a beautifully written conversation that takes you through the lives and ideas of the greatest thinkers in the history. Reading it felt like sitting down with a group of people who weren't just smart but deeply human. Socrates, for example, wasn't just a man with endless questions. He was someone who believed that questioning everything could lead to a more meaningful life. I read this book when I was at university during a period where I doubted myself constantly. I'd look at others and think they seem to have it all figured out, and then I read about the philosophers. None of them had it figured out. Plato wrestled with questions that didn't have answers. Nietzsche faced battle with his own mind. They were just like me, trying, failing, wondering, and you're human. Mag's storytelling made me realize that asking questions isn't a sign of weakness, it's a sign of being alive. One of the most powerful things I learned from this book was this: there is no single way to live a good life, but there is a way to live your life, and it starts with asking what matters most to me. Book 3, The Midnight Library by Matt Haig. This book broke me in the best way possible. It's a novel, but it feels like a guidebook to the soul. The story is about a woman named Nora who finds herself in this magical library where every book is a version of her life. What it would have been if she'd made different choices. Some lives are better, some are worse, but the point isn't about which one is right. It's about learning to appreciate the life you already have. When I read this, I was struggling with regrets. Big ones. I kept thinking, what if I'd done things differently? What if I had been braver, smarter, more confident? What if this? What if that? And then I came across these lines. You don't have to understand life. You just have to live it. Something inside me shifted. I realized I've been so focused on what ifs that I was missing the what is. And this book isn't just about Nora's journey, it's about all of us, about how we can spend so much time imagining the lives we think we should have that we forget to cherish the one we do have. After finishing the Midnight Library, I started making small changes. I let myself dream, but I also let myself breathe. And for the first time in a long time, I felt at peace with where I was. Actually, I've read this book about 3 or 4 times now. First, I read it in my own language, then I listened to the audiobook in English, and finally, I bought the English paper version and read it again. Every time I read it, I discover new layers and meanings that make me reflect on my own life in ways I hadn't before. Why these books matter? Each of these books gave me something different. A Little History of the World by Ernest Gombrich reminded me that my struggles are part of something bigger and that I have a place in the vast story of humanity. The Story of Philosophy by Brian Magee taught me the beauty of asking questions and embracing uncertainty. The Midnight Library by Matt Haig showed me how to let go of regrets and love the life I have. They didn't just entertain me, they changed the way I see myself and the world, and that's what I hope they'll do for you too. If you're feeling lost, if you're searching for meaning, or if you just need a little light in your life, these books might be exactly what you're looking for. Before I wrap up, I want to share these beautiful lines by Sylvia Plath that the Midnight Library begins with. I can never be all the people I want and live all the lives I want. I can never train myself in all the skills I want. And why do I want? I want to live and feel all the shades, tones, and variations of mental and physical experience possible in my life. Sylvia Plath. I want to leave you with this. Books have a unique way of touching our hearts because they speak to us when we are ready to listen. Maybe one of these will do that for you, or maybe it'll be another book. The important thing is to keep searching, to keep turning the pages, and to let yourself to be open to the possibility of change. If you've read any of these books or if you have one that changed your life, I'd love to hear about it. Share your thoughts in the comments and let's create a space where we can inspire each other, because at the end of the day, that's what stories are for, to remind us that we're not alone and that no matter where we are in life, there's always a new chapter waiting to be written. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and thank you for being here, truly.